Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Okay, um, I thought that I would run through the Know Thyself example. We've done quite a few of them, but wanted to kind of touch on what it is that you would be able to obtain from getting either an individual destiny matrix reading or a working with us as part of life coaching. Okay, so today I thought we'll use the example of Tony Robbins himself, the guru himself, even though he doesn't coin himself as a guru. Um, no particular reason why I've picked Tony. Principally because I was watching his documentary a few days ago, and that's the only reason. All right. But the Destiny Matrix itself tells a story, it tells a lot. And especially if you are feeling lost, confused, not really sure about which direction you're going to be going in or whether you are even on the right path, the Destiny Matrix is really invaluable. Myself and Mia are working with a couple of people as part of our life coaching session by really incorporating this as a tool in order for our clients to really get to grips with who they are, right to the core, the good and the not so good bits. The fantastic way that the Destiny Matrix does things is it highlights you in your positive vibration and you in your negative vibration. And a lot of us are uncomfortable with seeing the negative vibration, or may completely discount it and say, nope, I am completely in the positive vibration. Now, what myself and Mia use to coincide with the Destiny Matrix is the Chaldean calculator. It's another numerology system that mirrors the Destiny Matrix. It's similar to the Destiny Matrix. It uses the tarot system as well. And what I found is that in a number of instances where there are shadows, it will be reflected within the Chaldean system as well. Okay. Now, having a look at Tony as an example, so then you can see how when you receive the Destiny Matrix and when we work with you, what to expect. We really focus in on three numbers more than anything. And those three numbers for Tony are the number 4, the number 11, and the number 2. The number 4 is basically his solar plexus. And number 2 and number 11 are crown chakra. These are things that have been given to him, gifted to him as abilities, gifts that he has, which he can utilize and really lean into in order for him to be able to fulfill whatever he's destined to fulfill in this lifetime. So in terms of his life purpose here, looking at the very bottom, you'll see 3 sections: soul searching, socialization, spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge section is basically a lesson or lessons that you will be learning throughout your lifetime. All right. Now for Tony, that's the number 3. That's the Empress energy. For you, it could be the number 6, which is the Lover's energy, which is one of the more difficult energies to basically mess around with throughout your lifetime, because it's dealing with love, romantic relationships, friendships, having difficulties in that area and being able to navigate your way around that. What the system also does is it gives you what I call simulations. It's programs that will play out throughout your life. Okay. Some great programs, some not so great programs. And some in positive, some in negative, some are just, they just are. Now, everyone is different. Everyone's approach will be different. You can have twins who have the exact same date of birth but behave differently because one is operating from a more positive standpoint and the other will be operating from a more negative standpoint. All right. So let's talk about our Tony. Okay. Many of you will have an idea of who Tony Robbins is. He is, like I said, he's a life coach. Not your typical life coach in quotation marks. So he has his own very unique method of working with his clients and his workshops. I was absolutely blown over and fascinated. And also there were a few toe curling moments within his documentary on Netflix. So much so that I kind of felt compelled to have a look at what his Destiny Matrix and the Chaldean Calculator had to say about him. Now, with the number 11, that's his entry card, the visit card. It's the portrait. It's why he's here, and the way that people see him. The 11 energy is basically that which you will see of an athlete. It's someone who's very physically fit, very powerful, their presence is known and felt. Now, it's safe to say that Tony Robbins is very athletic. He's larger than life. He walks into a room and he commands the room. He, in terms of his stature, very tall, very, very athletic. But what he also has, which is very beautiful, is the 2 energy. That is the High Priestess. Tony is quite intuitive. He can pick up on the room. He can read a room. And he can also read the individual in which he's speaking to. With that 2 energy, the High Priestess, he's very, very spiritually in touch. He knows his shit, does Tony. Very, very, very useful tool, especially for the type of work that he does. The center energy is the number 4. Now, the number 4 is the Emperor. This is him basically commanding that power, especially with that 11 energy. It's being the boss, being the leader. You can't, especially when you look at Tony's career, you cannot discount that 4 energy. The strength of power that he has. And he still, pretty much to this day, is a leader within the field. Now, obviously, with that 4 energy, we need to be careful around how that 4 energy is used. Because that 4 energy can be also very overbearing. Now, 16 and 11 are in red. These are the more base chakras. And these are the things that he's more likely to struggle with in his life. So the 16 will be tower moments, things just crumbling, sudden changes in events. And the 11 energy, which is coincidentally what he is actually gifted with, can also be a hindrance to him. As we've probably seen, for those of you who have followed Tony, he has had his fair share of scandals, principally being that he's been accused, allegedly, of being very aggressive and very abusive to people, which can occur with the 11 energy in negative. Okay? So what else is there to know? So we've already established the 11 and the 2 energy with Tony. Let's have a look at some of his programs. Before I jump onto the program, I'm going to touch back on the number 3 for his spiritual knowledge. In the documentary for Tony, and for those of you who haven't seen it, have a look. It's really, really, really interesting. In the documentary for Tony, he was talking quite a lot around his relationship with his mother. He had effectively said that his mother was the reason, his mother was what pushed him into the career that he's in now. He had quite a difficult upbringing, and the focal point for him was, or the bone of contention in quotation mark for him, was his relationship with his mother, and that basically created the platform for who he is right now. So it's no surprise that the 3 is there, because there would be a need for him to forgive his mother, which he has done. And there would be a need for him to be mindful of and careful around his interactions with women, period. Off the back of that, because his bad experience with his mother may then in turn have an impact on the way that he sees and behaves towards women. Now, what he'd said was that his wife, who he met, was the complete opposite to his mother, and showed him a different side to women. So it's safe to say that Tony has been learning and has been very mindful of his relationships with women, okay, with that 3 energy. What else have we got? So when you get a Destiny Matrix reading, especially if it's just a general one where you want a kind of round robin of everything that's going on, you will get an overview of what's going on in terms of your love life. So with Tony, we have 15, 5, and 8. And then we'll also get an overview with what is going on in terms of your work, which will be 8, 10, and 20 in Tony's case. Now, the big ticket numbers here of main focus, especially for the love, would be number 5. So he would expect or would want in his ideal partner someone who is willing to learn, someone who is fairly knowledgeable, someone who is a teacher, or has the capacity to teach as well as to learn. It's the I was going to say high priest, but it's the priest. It's the Hierophant energy, okay? The ability to learn, but the ability to teach him a few things as well. Now, in his money line, we've got the number 10. Now, with the number 10, it can be... You usually see with the number 10 people that have unconventional types of jobs. So it's not your straightforward 9 to 5 sort of roles. A lot of celebrities in their center have the number 10. Again, leaning in towards the unconventional nature of their jobs and their roles. Now, with that 10, again, looking at Tony's career, his job is unconventional. Okay. Now, with that 10 energy, and again, it's worth having a look at your matrix to see whether you have this as well. You may be prone to some periods of unemployment whilst you're trying to find your feet. So the key is to not kick yourself over that. You are finding your grounding, you're finding your niche. Now, some of the jobs, but it won't be all of the jobs that you could potentially do with that 10 energy, is you can make money from healing, creativity, mentoring in life, which is what Tony does, and writing. Okay. But again, not exclusives. For some, money can come as win or earnings from the stock exchange or markets. The 10 is the wheel of fortune. It's all about luck and it's all about destiny. And it's you finding what you're destined to do and finding what ticks your boxes. All right, so I might read off, you may have a number 10, and some of those roles you might be like, hell yeah, they're the ones that I want to do. Well, with that 10 energy, the universe will help you towards getting to that goal. Now, that 10 shouldn't be read in isolation. We can see there's a number 20 here, which again, some of the work will be in relation to family as well, or family assistance, whilst you're doing the job or whilst obtaining that work. And then we've also got the energy 8 as well. What else? What else do you need to know? So we were going to talk about the programs. Now, I'm going to try and do a very quick round robin for Tony. Some of these programs may show up in your programs as well. There are several different programs. So these programs are what I call simulations that play out throughout your life. Okay. Sometimes it will occur the once, other times it may occur more than once. Right. So with Tony, there's a risk of a burnout or a flash. Okay. Oh, which kind of goes without saying. Bear with me 1 second. He's also at a risk of self-destruction as well. Now, with the self-destruction program, it is where he pushes himself too far, as in pushes his risks and his boundaries too far one way or another, for whatever reason. It may be to prove himself, it may be apathy, but it's one thing that he will need to be mindful of, and the ability to be able to accept help from his close ones. There's also the binge program, which he also has. I feel that this is more of a strength than a weakness. So the individual has a powerful, vital energy that helps to achieve results in his activities. All right, which is very, very clear. He sets his mind to something and he achieves it. So they are some of the programs that are here. Some of the programs will touch on his past experience with his mother. Other programs will touch on experiences that he may have in his relationships as well. Okay. What the Destiny Matrix can also do is it can give you an indication of your past life. So what happened in a previous incarnation. It may not have been your last incarnation, but it will be the most important incarnation, and it will be a lesson that keeps repeating itself over and over and over and over again. Okay. So for Tony, it's 15, 8, 11. Everyone will have different types of karmic tales, if you will, or karmic lessons, karma that they need to heal. So for Tony, in his past incarnation, he could have been tortured or he could have tortured, sorry, a large number of people, brought them physical suffering and pain, showed aggression, beat and injured others. It may not have mattered to him in a past incarnation whether he served in some punishment system, or potentially he could have been a gladiator as well. In his past karma, there may have been many sufferings of other people, and bodily torture. All right. Now, in this incarnation, as a punishment for the past, there will be things he has to overcome. It will create the weaknesses for him so that he can see the other side of the coin in this incarnation. Okay. But despite any kind of weaknesses or being at, you know, a disadvantage, if you will, in quotation marks, his strength of spirit and his ambition will still remain high. It will still be the strength of spirit that he held from previous incarnations. So when you think of a gladiator and you look at Tony Robbins, you can kind of see it. He's a very strong guy and very strong-willed. So that strong will is what got him to be as physically powerful as he is. But even despite that physical powerfulness on the outside, he still had some weaknesses in the body. One of which was a brain tumor, which he'd spoken on. And I think he developed the brain tumor when he was 31. So the Destiny Matrix alludes to some of these potential weaknesses and the ability for him to overcome that. But one of his lessons and recommendations as part of this matrix and as part of his past karma is to learn to control his inner aggressions. A given strength and skills can be used only for protection. So he should avoid taking part in street fights because there is a high risk of accidental injuries and going to jail. And it's necessary to sometimes show flexibility and diplomacy instead of force. So in the round, Tony has been in keeping with this, but as I've said, there have been instances of allegations that have been made against him with regards to aggressive behavior in work. And in the round, I don't think, in the round, I feel that he has worked on these things, has been working on these things, especially in terms of his relationship with women. I can say that he has, and I don't know him personally, but he's very much in keeping with what he has been set out to do, the blueprint as laid down here by the Destiny Matrix. Now, in order to really understand where his actual shadows are, on the left-hand side, you'll see a separate box with triangles and, within this system, which is the Chaldean system, this will show anything marked in red is where he has it's where his chakras or his being may be slightly imbalanced. So we can see 8-8 here, we can see 11-2 and 12-3. So 11-2 we can see in his the karma tail. The red is 11, so 11-2 is what he needed to work on. 11-2, as we, with the 11, it is, it's a people pleaser. It's not being able to say no. It's not being able to, it's basically being easily manipulated as 11-2. Okay. Now we've also got a 12-3 here. So we do see 12s in his matrix, but they're not lit up like a Christmas tree. But again, these are weaknesses or areas for him to be mindful of. And we've got 12-3 again further down here, as well as 9-9, which points to that aggression energy. So the 12-3 is being seen as a victim. And always being, it's the sacrificial lamb. It's always being used as a scapegoat for something by someone. Okay. Now, I'm going to hasten to add that Tony has changed his name. So this is the, he's a life path 2 as well, which I thought I'll quickly point out here too. In terms of his soul path, he really is here to help people, and has a lot of empathy within him. But with him changing his name as part of this Chaldean system, his number vibrations change as well with it. Okay. So for those of you who may be interested to see how his new name has affected the number of negative or imbalanced numbers within his overall chart, then please let me know by adding a comment below. So as interesting as all this is, what do you get out of this? So when you have your first free initial call with both myself and Mia, we'll talk about what it is that you're hoping to gain out of the coaching sessions, what you're looking for, basically. And then what myself and Mia will do, we'll go away and we will devise a plan for you. Okay, so it will be, depending on whether there are any limitations, we will work with you using different methods to try to get you to that point, to get you to the point where you can reach a set goal that you have already got in mind. Now, early doors in the first few weeks of your coaching session, we will be going extensively into your destiny matrix, really drawing out where you are in terms of your soul path, where you are in terms of your year forecasts. We'll be also going into the 3 main numbers for you, the 2 gifts from heaven, which will be, in Tony's case, the 11 and 2, as well as what sits within your core, which will be, in Tony's case, the number 4. And we'll show you how you can work with those energies. We'll also look at, depending on your age, at which destination point you're at. And again, honing in on those energies and what it is that you need to balance out and focus on in order for your life to go pretty plain sailing from that point. Each week, it will be about you. What it is that you want to achieve, honing in on some of the more negative aspects of your destiny matrix or the Chaldean calculator, because we'll be using both in tandem to be able to get you into the more positive vibrations, to then in turn make your life a little bit easier so that it's easier for you to hit your goals. If you're struggling to establish whether you're on the right path, we'll have a look at both systems to see whether you are in keeping with where you need to be. If you're struggling in relationships, we can run a compatibility matrix between you and your partner to find out whether, 1, how compatible the 2 of you are, and 2, some of the tools that you could potentially use within the relationship that will help to flip it the other way, to help balance out some of those negative traits within the relationship. That's on the proviso that you still want to continue to work on it. Again, like I said, career, finances, love, relationships, as in family relationships, whatever it is that you want to focus on, we'll be able to help you out with that. We have one client at the minute where we're working with her on basically her achieving her goal of getting into a particular university. So whatever your goal is, let us know and we'll devise a plan and work with you to be able to get you to exactly where you need to be. And don't be afraid of all these numbers and how complicated it may appear at first. We will work with you and we'll break everything down into bite-sized little sections for you. Okay? So that's it, really. If you have any questions, let me know. You can add some comments down below, or you can send an email either to rubyrosetarot@outlook.com or to reigniteyoursoul222@gmail.com. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.